my channel. So I know it's been a few weeks since I've uploaded, but I've had my baby girl, so I've been taking time to just rest and recover before I sat down and filmed this video. And this is my labor and delivery story. So I hope you can just sit back, relax, and let's jump right into the video. Let me turn down this fan a bit. First thing is that let's just jump back a few weeks. It's been very confusing as to when my delivery date was actually supposed to be, especially coming down to the end of my pregnancy. The week before I actually gave birth, I ended up going to get an ultrasound done, and that was because the clinic was saying that I was overdue. What clinic usually does is they use your last period, the first date of your last period, and they calculate when you're supposed to give birth. That's how they get your due date, right? But the thing is that the first date of my last period, I wasn't in the country. I was in America. If you guys remember, I have my vacation vlog. You can check that out. But that was the last time I had seen my menstruation. So for the first 2 weeks of December, I was not in the country. Like, I feel so confused. Let me just be clear. The clinic stated that my due date was the 8th of September, right? The date I went and I got my final ultrasound done, the clinic was saying that I was overdue. But according to the ultrasound that I did on the Sunday before I had my daughter, it said that I was actually 38 weeks, right? So there was a big gap in when my due date actually was. But clinic said that I was overdue. I was 40 weeks. I was about to be 40 weeks, and I would need to be induced. So my last clinic date was actually the 15th of September. Yeah, that was my last clinic date. I have everything written down here. I did not want to forget everything. So in the moment of me giving birth and so on, going through labor and everything, I was making notes. So on the 15th of September, I went to my final clinic date. Now the thing is that I started feeling Braxton Hicks contractions since like 2 weeks before, right? And so I thought that, baby was coming, because according to the clinic, according to my due date, you can have your baby like 38 weeks and so on. So I was like, okay, maybe she's going to come early. So I started getting contractions early on, but sadly she didn't come. Ignore my eyebrows. Everything is going to come together eventually. So my last clinic date, as I said, was the 15th of September. So when I went to that appointment, the midwife told me, yeah, I would need to be induced. And she had actually told me this since the week before. If I came back to clinic, then I would have to get induced. I think I put a little bit too much. Yeah, anyways, I would have to get induced. So when I went there, I knew what I was expecting. I knew what to expect. I knew that when I got to clinic, they would say, you're getting transferred to public hospital, you have to get induced. And even though I had went the Sunday before and got the ultrasound, and this was a different hospital that I went to get my ultrasound done than the one I've been going to all the time. So even though I went and I got an up-to-date ultrasound that was saying that I wasn't overdue, that I was actually 38 weeks, the clinic still went with what they would have calculated, because public is very thorough, or that's one thing about them. So I put my confidence in them because I knew they knew what they were doing. So anyway, I went. The midwife said, okay, today you're getting transferred, because I told you this. If you came, who was stopping outside? Anyways, yeah, she said you knew if you came today that you would be transferred to be induced. And at this point in time, I wasn't getting any big contractions. I wasn't getting any signs that labor was close. The only thing was that, my belly had dropped a bit and I was getting the stretch marks, but nothing urgent was happening. And I was honestly tired of being pregnant. Like, I was ready to just have her and come home. And the clinic gave me a transfer slip to go to public hospital. I wanted to come home. I did not want to go right away because this was like around 10 in the morning. And my Adaya was coming off of school at 12 o'clock. So I wanted to see him before I would admit it to hospital. But my husband and my mother said, man, nothing will happen to you. Just go and get admitted. So I just went. Shamar dropped me off at the hospital, and I didn't go with my bag. I just went with a purse because I wasn't sure what they would do. So I decided just to go with my purse. When I got to the hospital, they put me on the Doppler. That's the thing that monitors the baby's heartbeat and its movements and so on. And I had to lay there for 10 minutes for them to, you usually have to monitor the baby for 10 minutes. While I was laying there, the doctor would, there was a female doctor that checked me. She came and she would check, well, for the 10 minutes, and she would shake up the belly just so that on the monitor you can see, you know, activity, that the baby is moving and the baby is healthy and everything is okay. Most times the baby is just resting. So at that time, it was around 10:50 in the morning, and a male doctor came in with the female doctor. So the two of them were working together. And he came and he shook my belly and he asked me if I had eaten anything for the morning. Because what usually happens is if you're not eating, the baby's not moving. So I hadn't really eaten anything for the morning. I only had a bit of porridge, and he said that that's not enough. I need to eat something substantial, right? But I don't have anywhere to go. I can't go and get something to eat right now. So they just kept me there and they monitored me. I told them that I actually wasn't expecting to be admitted, even though I knew at the back of my mind that I would have been. I wasn't expecting to be admitted, so that's why I wasn't really focusing on eating or, you know, getting things in order. Around 10:06, they decided to check me to see if I was dilated. My cervix was still closed. The last time that I was pregnant and I was having my cervix checked and so on, I remember the pain being intense. And so I was sitting there waiting for this intense pain, but it was not as bad as I remember. So maybe my pain tolerance has just gotten better, or it's just not as bad as I remember, but it was not terrible. It was very, very bearable, which was good, because the pain that was about to come was out of this world. Like 10 minutes later, at like 10:16, the female doctor told me that I was going to be admitted. Now, because I knew that I was going to get induced, I had no idea what the induction process included. So I asked the doctor what is going to happen, like how is the induction done and what am I supposed to expect. She told me that what they usually do is they use a pill, and I think the pill is Pitocin. What happens is they start off by giving you the pill, which is Pitocin. If I'm not correct, I'm going to just put it on the screen. And if after giving you the pill, they observe you for a few hours and nothing happens, then they give you the drips, oxytocin in the form of drips. So it goes directly into your bloodstream, and that would increase the contractions, bring them on to speed up the process, right? So at 10:20, my blood was drawn and they attached that needle, the plastic needle, to your hand, and this is what your whole duration in the hospital. This needle stays on your hand in case you have to get drops, in case you have to get blood. This needle just remains in your hand, right? And then a couple minutes later, at 10:40, that's when they took me up to the prenatal ward, and they gave me bed number 19. I'm a kind of person, I'm really big on numbers. So when I saw that they gave me bed number 19, like, I just felt very comforted, because 19 is Shamroy and I's, that's how you say it, is that grammatically correct? Shamroy and I, or me and Shamroy. Anyways, it is our anniversary, like our togetherness anniversary, our dating anniversary date, the 19th of January. So number 19 just made me feel very comforted. They were going to keep me overnight. So at like 3:20 in the afternoon, so last time you heard from me, it was like 10:40 when I was admitted. The Shamroy came, brought lunch for me, I saw Daya, they left, and now I was all alone in the hospital. So yeah, at around 3:20 in the afternoon, Diane came and visited me. And you guys supposed to know about Diane, because the last time that I was pregnant, I told you about her. She is my sister-in-law's sister, and she's a doctor at the hospital. So she came and she visited me, and she found out some information for me, like about my care. She found out some information because I wanted to know what time, like when the induction would be done and so on. And that's because, you know, you just want to mentally prepare yourself. So she told me that the reason that they usually keep you overnight and don't start an induction right away after you admitted is because they have to prepare for worst case scenario. And yeah, you're not saying that the worst thing is going to happen, but the hospital has to prepare for in case you have to get a C-section. So that's what they usually do. They draw your blood so that they can test what blood type you are, and they can get bags of blood ready in case the induction does not go according to plan and you have to end up getting a C-section. And honestly, that's fine, because at least you know that they have you, like they're preparing, and everything is going to be, and nothing is going to be really last minute, right? So I was like, all right, good. And she told me that they would be reevaluating me the next morning to determine my next steps. So at this point, I was 40 weeks and 6 days. So yep, I was overdue. So the induction was going to happen. So it is now 6:31, and I've been here since 11. I was admitted around 11:20. So yeah, it's been okay. Can't complain. Don't have any pains or anything. So I heard, well, as you all know, my sister-in-law, her sister is a doctor here, so she visited me, and she went and she found out some information about my treatment and what's going to be happening, and so she came and she explained everything to me. They usually do inductions early in the morning so that during the day is when the mother is here to labor, because there are going to be more staff present. Yeah, I just had a bath, so I'm feeling much better. That water felt so good. Oh my gosh, I did not want to come out of the shower, but it felt so good, and I had to come out. Oh gosh. So yeah, they usually do inductions early in the morning. They're keeping me overnight because they need to prepare worst case scenario, a CS. So they take your blood, and after taking your blood, they're gonna, make sure that they have blood bags in stock for my blood type, in case when they give me the pill to start the induction. Oh my gosh, I really hope that I can explain this much better later on. But they start with a pill, and if that does not take you all the way to laboring and delivering, then they would bump it up to oxytocin, and they give you that 2 trips, and that will also increase your labor pains and try and speed up contractions and whatnot. Now, if worst case scenario I am not dilating after them giving me the oxytocin, then I will have to C-section. Yeah, so that's what is going on right now. I'm just here laying in bed, just resting and relaxing, not complaining, leaving everything in God's hands. But yeah, girl is doing good right now. So that was my first day in the hospital. Nothing really happened for the rest of the night. So the next day, Saturday the 16th, I woke up that morning and they induced me at 7:25 a.m. So they took me into a room right in the prenatal ward. The doctor said, okay, so I'm going to be inducing you now. This is a pill. I'm going to stick it up your vagina, and this is going to start the process, the induction process. I said, okay, no problem. What you usually have to do is you have to sign off a document stating that they explain what is going to happen, which they did, and that worst case scenario, you're giving permission for a C-section. After they induce you, they transfer you to the labor ward, right? And you have to be monitored for 20 to 25 minutes. And the doctor that monitored me was a doctor by the name of Dr. Tanya. And the thing is that when I was speaking to her, and conversating, I found out that her daughter and my son goes to the same school. So like, such a small world, and that everything that happens, well, I always take it as a sign from God, and I always look at it as a comfort. So I was like, whoa, this is very comforting. Oh, this is comforting. This is a real small world, actually. After they monitored me for the 20 to 25 minutes, I went back to the prenatal ward. They told me to pack up my stuff and I was then taken to the labor ward where I was given a bed, and this is where I was going to stay. So that was from 8:20 in the morning till I gave birth. That's where I was. And they transfer you to the labor ward so that you could be monitored hourly, right? So while I was in there, I saw so many women came, and like some just came, went straight into the delivery room, and like within 10 minutes they had their babies. So I was like, wow, hopefully I can move that fast, but things never happen that way for me. Anyways, around 12:50 they checked me, and I was 2 centimeters. So they discussed placing a tracer in me, but they wanted to monitor the baby first before they took that step. After the pill was placed in me, like the contractions came on, everything was very, very bearable. Nothing was like, oh gosh, hold me. No, but that is coming, guys. This experience is completely different than when I had my son. Around 1:25, that's when I can honestly say that the pain increased. Like, and then like 5 minutes later at 1:30, they started me on saline. And that was because the baby's heart rate was fluctuating a lot. And also because the baby's heart rate was fluctuating, they decided that they would no longer be placing me on a tracer. Around 1:50, they gave me another pill, and then they put the balloon inside of me. And what the balloon does is that it just helps to open your cervix, and then when you reach a certain centimeter, like around 4 or 5, it falls out by itself. So they placed the balloon in me, and they also gave me another pill, and the pain, whoo, that is when the real pain started, eh? But even though that pain was terrible, I tried to take it now, because I knew that when it came time to push, and I don't know how long I would have to be in labor for, so I just wanted to rest. So I took a nap. I slept from around 2 to around 4 o'clock, and it was just before 4 o'clock. When I woke up, I decided, okay, let me just take a walk, because my niece's mother, a midwife, right at Georgetown Hospital, but she's was in the, while I was there, she's in the theater right now. So she called me to check up on me, and I told her that they placed the balloon, but it didn't fall out as yet. And as soon as I came off the phone with her, I got up. I said, okay, let me go walk a little bit. I got up, went to the washroom, came back, put on some music, and was walking. I walked from like the distance from my bed to the door, and when I turned back to walk, the balloon fell out. So that means that now I was at like 4 or 5 cm, and I was like, yay. Now it's time for me to continue progressing on my own. At around 4:15, this is when the pain really, like, it jacked up. And so I decided, you know what, I need to do something to distract myself. Like the last time when I was pregnant with Adaya and I was going through my labor, I did breaths. I had a method of how I was breathing. But this time I decided, you know what, I'm going to count. So with every contraction, I just started counting. I counted the seconds of each contraction. And I knew with counting the first couple, I knew that so the pace at which I was counting like was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I knew with that my contractions, with every contraction, the pain would start to decrease when I got to like 17, 18. That's when the pain would start to decrease. So with the counting, and it was kind of a distraction, as in, okay, just reach to this number and the pain is going to decrease. So that was giving me something to look forward to. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. When that number reaches 100, it means that I'm having a contraction. So seeing that also helped me to prepare for when a contraction was coming. And the graph at the bottom helped me to monitor the distance between one contraction and another. Oh my gosh, that was 1:31. I have to pick up a diet in half an hour. All right, good. So let me see how fast I could go through the rest of this story. 4 hours later, at 8:08. So all this time I was just having the contractions and nobody was checking me, really. And I wasn't really being checked to see if I was dilated, but the pain was just coming and I was just counting, trying to cope. I can honestly say this pain was terrible. It was worse than with a diet. The pain from an induction is much worse than if you went through natural delivery, because to me with natural delivery the pain, it kind of increases slowly, right? It doesn't just come all at once intense, but with an induction all the pain comes at once, and that is harder to cope with than for the pain to gradually get worse. So I think that was why it was so hard for me to deal with this pain this time. At around 8:08, I could not deal with the pain anymore. Honestly, I needed to push. My body was saying, push this damn baby out, get this baby out of you. So I called the midwife and I said, I need to push. I feel like I need to use the toilet. I need to push. So they came, they checked me. I was 8 centimeters. Before I continue, let me just tell you guys, things are gonna get insane from this moment, and I might get emotional. So just keep that in mind. Also, there's going to be just a little bit of discussion on death. There will be no death, but I will speak on it a bit, right? So I was taken to the delivery room, and I was just there trying to hold on until I got to 10 cm to start pushing. But the pain was honestly too much to bear. And because I told the midwife I needed to have a motion, and she said, if that's how I feel, just have it. So I started having a motion. I was messing on the bed. She had laid down a mat, so I was messing on that. Honestly, I felt so weird. Like I felt so bad for having to have the midwife have to clean me up. I apologized so many times while I was in that labor room, even though I knew that, these midwives would have experienced things like this many times before. Now, the reason I knew that this pain was much worse than when I had a diet is because I actually screamed. Like I actually screamed out in pain with how intense this was. And I always promised myself I would never scream while I was in labor. Like I would bear it in silence. But this pain was so terrible. Now the thing is, I could not help but push, because I couldn't stop myself. When you're in that motion, you can't really stop yourself from doing what your body wants to do. It's hard for you to stop yourself from doing what your body naturally wants to do. After having the motion, I really could not help but push. But the midwife kept telling me, no, you can't push. She's still very high up. It's not time for her to come as yet. But I told her that, and plus my water bag hadn't burst as yet. But I kept telling her, I honestly can't hold it anymore. I have to push. I cannot hold her any longer. So the midwife said, okay. And she decided to burst my bag. When she burst my bag and the water came out, it had a whole lot of meconium. I'm going to pronounce this word wrong for the rest of this video. I know that. Merconium. And that meant that baby girl had messed in me. And she saw it. She said, she announced to the other midwife, she was like, there's meconium and it's a 3. Actually, no, it's a 4. And I'm not sure what that means. I'm just gonna, if I find the information, I'm gonna put that on the screen. But she said that meant that baby girl had messed maybe more than once in me, and she had been swimming in her own feces for a while. Okay. And she said that okay. When she told me that, she said that, okay, that means that I have to get the baby out now, because it's not, if that's what she's been in for the longest while, she has to come out now. So a doctor came in, and even though I was at 8 cm and I had not dilated as yet, and she was not down as yet, I had to start pushing. I had to get her out. So I was on the bed, I laid, I pushed with all of my might. I'm telling you, I have never, like, the pain no longer mattered to me. I was honestly not I know the pain was there, but I had so much motivation to get my daughter out safely that I wasn't, that the pain didn't even matter anymore. I know what it is to deal with Merconium and with having emotion and all of that during, because it happened with my mother, and when she was having me, and I inhaled it, and I had to be in a incubator for like the first 5 weeks of my life. And I don't know how my mother, I gotta get through this and just finish this video so I can go for a diet. Yeah, I don't know how my mother dealt with it, with not having her daughter with her, not being able to take her home, but just the thought gave me the motivation I needed to get her out. So I ignored all the pain, and I pushed, and I pushed for like less than 3 minutes, and she was out. And there is no better song than hearing your baby cry. There is no better song. With Adaya, after he came out, he didn't cry right away. They took him away, and I heard him cry from wherever the midwives took him, right? But with her, I think it is like God was allowed her to cry right away, just to comfort me, to let me know that she's fine, nothing is wrong, she's okay. Because the moment she came out, she was bawling. She was bawling. She was like, I am here, I'm fine. I was so happy when I heard her cry, but that didn't mean that everything was okay, that she was in the clear. They clipped her umbilical cord, and they took her away. Now, because I was pushing prematurely, and with me having to push early, it caused some damage to my cervix. So what happened is that, because before I pushed her out, right, the midwife was telling me, don't push, because I'm going to damage my cervix. But I didn't care, because the moment they told me that she had to come out, I didn't even care. I didn't care if I was going to push out my entire uterus. I just knew she needed to come out. So I just started pushing like my life depended on it. I didn't care what was going to happen to me afterwards. I just needed to make sure she was safe. So after she came out, so that my cervix was damaged, they had to give me stitches. So I had to get stitches to the right side of my cervix, because I had damaged one of a vein or something like that. I think it was a vein. I burst a vein with the pushing. So I had to get stitches on that. And any external injury was just, didn't need stitches. It was like just scratches that would heal on its own. So everything was Gucci. But the stitches, getting those stitches, the pain of getting those stitches was terrible. It was terrible. But while I was getting those stitches, all I could think about was my baby girl and if she was okay. And that's all I kept asking the midwife. I was like, is she okay? Is everything okay? I just laid on that bed crying my eyes out, because when she came out and it was just me and the midwife alone left in the room, she told me that because she was in the meconium for a while, she could have died. And a lot of babies don't make it when they're in the meconium. So that is why I was so emotional just now, because it's like I could have given birth to a stillborn baby. I could have lost my baby girl before I even properly met her. So while I was laying on that bed, that's all I could think about. Like, God really did protect my baby for me. He really kept her for me, because I prayed for her every day. And to know that I could have lost her at any moment, it was a lot for me to deal with. Anyways, my baby, she was born on April. Wow. She was born on September the 16th, 2023 at 8:43 p.m. A beautiful, beautiful little girl. And I'm so blessed to have her. And even though the delivery was traumatic for me, I would do it over and over again if it meant having her in my arms. There is nothing like the love you feel for a child. Like, I don't know. To me, she's just perfect. And that's all that matters, that she's healthy, that she's here. Man, we had to stay in the hospital for an extra day, not because of her, but because of me, because my blood pressure was sky high. So they wanted to keep me to monitor. But she's good. She's great. She has her vaccines. And I just enjoy every day just looking at her and seeing her grow. But she's a serious girl, eh? She barely smiles. I delivered the placenta. That and all, that was a bit painful. They had to give me an injection to deliver the placenta. I didn't get that the last time, but this time I had to get an injection. But yeah, if there's anything that I would have missed, I will include it throughout the video. And at the end of the day, after giving birth, I lost a lot of blood. It was a total of around 350 grams of blood that I had lost, but that was because of the pushing and the bleeding from the vessel that I would have burst on my cervix. But everything is good. I think yesterday, which was yesterday was what date? The 3rd of October. I should know yesterday's date because today is the 4th. Today is my husband's birthday. Oh my gosh. Look, I'm so stupid. Happy birthday to my husband anyways. But yeah. What was I even saying? Yesterday on the 3rd, my stitches fell, well, one of my stitches fell out. I don't know if it's supposed to fall out, but it fell out. I have to go to tomorrow Dia's clinic. So when I get there, I'm going to ask them about if it's supposed to fall out or if it's supposed to dissolve, for them to check me to make sure everything is okay. But I have been healing well. I have lost a lot of weight because let me tell you, my baby girl, she took up most of the space in my top. That is the story of my labor and delivery. As I said, if there's anything that I'm missing, I will include it throughout the video. Yeah, so finally I have my baby girl, I have my baby boy, and for now I'm complete. We'll see what the future holds, eh? I don't know. But that is all. I will see you in the next video. Let me know what other videos you want to see. I think I'm still going to do the video on the difference between this pregnancy and my last. And also, I want to know, do you guys want me to do like a series on how to take care of a baby, like things that you need as a first-time mother, how to bathe a baby as a first-time mother? This is how I have done things, eh? And my babies are alive still. Good. So like things like that. Do you want me to do a series on it, especially for first-time mothers who don't have family members close to them that could help them out or to give them certain advice? Let me know. But yeah, that is all. Have a faithfully blessed day. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.